What's going on, everybody? Another edition of the NH Experience is definitely upon you. On this week's episode, I have some very special guests. I have some legendary producers, artists, writers, entrepreneurs. I mean, they need no introduction, but I'm going to give them one anyway.
Uh-oh.
From the legendary group Above the Law, the man behind the plan, Cole 187, aka Big Hutch, and also the man, the Funketeer himself, who's been on a slew for the projects, from his own projects to working with the late great Eazy-E to Snoop Dogg to now. These two are the architects of G-Funk. He is the one and only Kokane. What's going on, good gentlemen? How y'all doing?
What's up? What's up with you, boy?
Appreciate you having us on.
Hey man, it's an honor to have both of you all on here. I know you guys have a brand new project, Architects of G-Funk. We're definitely gonna get into that. But I gotta rewind the clock just a little bit because you guys are such legends when it comes to not just hip hop, but just music in general. For those that may not know, now it's my understanding, now y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but Big Hutch, your uncle, Willie Hutchinson, 70s, yep. All the classic movies, the soundtracks and the music to the classic movies. Kokane, your father was also involved on the music scene as well. So talk to me, both of you, about just growing up in the music scene and growing up period, and how you guys evolved into the artists and producers that we see today.
Well, yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, for me, my father was a writer and composer, which was Richard Hutch, and then my uncle's Willie Hutch, and then our other uncle's Jerry. So we grew up as writers and musicians first. First of all, musicians and writers first. So that's how we kind of like what a bigger influence for us with just learning music first. We took music, we studied music first. So that's the type of influence that we had coming into hip hop, coming from a musical family. That was always first in the house, knowing music first. Highly influenced by everything that they've done. I mean, because, they've done everything from, the Jacksons to the Miracles to the Commodores to the Fifth Dimension to the Undisputed Truth to it goes on, Fifth Dimension, all of that. So, but yeah, I mean, we first, for my answer to it is I grew up first as a musician. Then I kind of caught the hip hop bug, as a young teenager.
Yeah, music, just taking off from where Hutch was talking about, music was embedded in our DNA. So to kind of say, Nick, we kind of had the cheat code. And, music was always played around the household. It was like a big pot of gumbo. You had jazz, funk, you had blues music, rhythm and blues. And back when the early stages, when hip hop was coming in, it was like, man, you can't get no better than that. You got all fashions of this music. And we just absorb it. So coming from a musical background was definitely instrumental. And, us doing what we're doing as musicians, first and foremost, because Hutch played in the jazz band and I played in the jazz band as a shorty. So we were always, we were like what you call star children, of the funk. So we was always in it.
No, that's awesome, man. I mean, you guys obviously growing up, obviously there were some tough times. How did you still stay balanced? I know you guys had to get to the streets and then just on a survival tip. But how were you guys able to still balance the streets and still have that love and that passion to still learn the music and still be a part of the music to really get you over the hump?
I mean, surprisingly, the cool thing about it is that the streets, coming up in the 80s, you figure being a young, teenager, coming into being an adult, and being in the streets and everything, kind of wrote that soundtrack to the music, you know what I mean? Kind of was able to create that blueprint. That's how we created Above the Law. So always having music as that in that background for us, something that we could reach for, kind of delivered us from the streets, really, that's the whole thing about it. Because how when we first started out, and I was just hustling in the streets, I always done music. So, from just in the crates or, writing or, even just hustling. So it kind of like, once it started really catching to where it could really, what a dollars made sense, you know, as they say. Then I started really taking it real serious on a professional level, and then trying to get out of the streets and take music more serious. You know, but the fortunate thing about that's how we developed Above the Law. If we weren't in the streets, I don't think we would have had Above the Law and Cocaine like we had it, because that's the approach that we took. We took more in our music. We took more of a street approach. It kind of helped us write, you know, write the it kind of became the blueprint of what our sound was.
Right.
Yeah, definitely, man. So talk to me, Hutch. I mean, where did you see, rest in peace, where did you see at KMG, man? Because to me, it seemed like that voice, man. He just had that voice, but it was the cadence, and then you came with not only with the production, but you came with your style as well, and it all seemed to come together as Kokane mentioned earlier, like a pot of gumbo.
Yeah. You know, the cool thing was always about us, and you know, the greatest thing about KMG is that KMG always, you know, he was like a person that was, how can you say it, like a you know, like a Darth Vader kind of dude, like a dude that's like, when he speak, he don't have to say much, but the way he say it and when he do it, it impacts everything, you know. So what we try to figure out, me along with DJ Chaos, when we were developing Above the Law, you know, and then we incorporated like Gomac and, you know, Laylaw and then Cocaine, everybody got incorporated into the whole thing. The thing that we were trying to develop was a yin and a yang sound, you know, like a dude that's like coming out, you know, going crazy, than a dude that's talk calm, but he's just as serious, but with a different element to it, and just as much impact, you know, just as impactive, you know what I mean? So I think the greatest thing that people fail to realize about KMG was that KMG was probably more profound in a direct at you way, you know what I mean? Versus without him, I don't think you kind of pay attention to us on a serious note, you know, like far as on a, you know, like distinctively, like these motherfuckers mean business. It's like I said, it's like Darth Vader speaking or something, you know what I mean? It's like, who's the black ass dude, that deep ass voice? Like these motherfuckers mean business, you know, like that. So, and I mean, prolific writer. He's a part of everything that we do. When we developed, you know, the G-Funk sound. I mean, I basically sonically put it around me, him, and Cocaine's voices. You know what I mean? That's how I developed it. It was all around our voices sonically. So without that, we wouldn't even had that sound, because it's the dark, the light, and then the added extra, you know, the sprinkles around it, you know, which became our signature sound, you know. And yeah, I mean, I can't express enough how it doesn't happen without his voice, you know.
No, that's what I've said this before, and I'll say it to you, Big Hutch, because I finally, you know, but that's the brilliance of you. I think people don't really realize and really give credit to. Because for you to even have that vision to see, okay, the light, the dark, this how to come in, this person has to come in here, that's never easy. So for you to see that, and then I'm gonna ask Kokane, I'm gonna flip it, ask Kokane, because obviously your voice, man, is legendary. Like your voice stands out. Like we talked about KMG, we talked about you. So Kokane, at what point did you realize, okay, this is the voice I have, this is the voice I'm gonna develop and use and really get me in there?
Well, you know, Hutch is my sensei, my mentor, you know, and you know, he challenged me. He put me up to those challenges because he seen I was bold enough and actually can do, you know, imitating your George Clinton, your Curtis Mayfield, and your Rick James, just as well as being an MC. So in 1989, prior to signing the Ruthless Records, he said, I got a name that I want to call you. I said, what is it? So my cousin named me Kokane. I sat back for 3 minutes. And I thought, excuse me, I thought that was a brilliant idea for controversy. There wasn't no secret to what Eazy-E got down. Actually, you know, being banned off your MTVs and different other stuff like that, it worked in Ruthless Records' favor. So once I accepted the name, I did a 3-song demo in 1989, and a contributing member of NWA, Larry Goodman, which his name is Laylaw, was also others would go back. So we did the 3-song demo. Laylaw and Hutch shot it to Eric Wright, Eazy-E, rest in peace. And it didn't take long for me to get signed because they said, here's somebody that do 5 to 6 different styles. This guy is bipolar when it comes to music. And he really doing it. And this was prior to the days of your auto tunes, your melodynes, your disc dynes. No,
Yep.
you had to really have bars, and you really had to have some type of talent. So everybody, in my humble opinion, that's why they don't stress it enough with mentors. You know, we had a lot of mentors growing up, and whether we listened to them or not, you know, but I'm glad I listened to my mentor, 187, that put me up to the challenge. And then at the same time, you know, due to the name of the most controversial name in the game, Kokane, we turn it around and spell it Kokane. That means when you hear our music, it's like warning, listening may become addicted. So we're doing the spinoff of the drug game, but we're using mostly with a funk thing.
Yeah,
that was cool, man. That was my humble surroundings. That was my introduction, signing to Ruthless Records. But then it was a lot of things that was going to come after that, because after Above the Law came out with one of the most prolific albums, Living Like Hustlers, in 1990. I was next coming out in 1991. But Epic Records was distributing Ruthless Records at that time. And they was so scared of the name, even when I got on interviews and say my name's Kokane, not Coca-Cola, that actually didn't change the name, that actually used to put things in their stuff, right? But traditionally they would have them because the FCC laws see these guys and they're already stereotyping us. You know what I mean? So, you know, a lot of times because of the name Kokane in my early beginning stages, and people wouldn't play my stuff on the radio, but because of cats like Cole 187, Laylaw, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, they put me up to the challenge, and it was like Public Enemy. You know, who cares about the radio? Who cares about a goddamn Grammy? You know what I mean?
Yep, that's right.
And that challenged me even more because music was already embedded into Hutch's DNA and my DNA. And we was like, shit, okay. They don't want to play us, man. We'll get hot on the streets. And that door being shut in my face opened up so many avenues because people wanted to adopt the sound because they said, damn, this is the only dude on the planet that sound damn near like George Clinton.
No, I mean, that's spot on, man. You guys were a part of one of the most controversial and famous and biggest labels at that time with Ruthless Records, because NWA with the Nears for Life album, I mean, that was number one. And then all of a sudden the break comes. Yeah. So how do you guys adjust to the break? I know I've seen interviews before where there was talk of you guys going on tour with NWA with the other groups.
Then
the break happens.
Yeah, the breakup happens after we go. You know, go ahead, finish, Nick. I'm my bad. Go ahead.
Hey man, this is I'm trying to learn here. So y'all go ahead with the stories. I'm just trying to guide the ship.
I thought you had a question like how we were affected by it, but yeah, go ahead and finish your question.
No, I was gonna say, how did you guys deal with the break and then be able to still stay focused as Above the Law and Kokane?
Well, I think one thing is Eazy-E. Just how Coco brought up, like the brilliance of Eazy-E was always, you know, we're gonna work with what we have. You know, he's never gonna say like, okay, like for instance, like with his name, he just pivoted. He just said, okay, we just gonna turn it into this. You know what I mean? We're not gonna sit up here and let it stifle us. You know what I mean? So what he did is like, even when Murder Rap got banned, he just we're gonna use it, and it turned that into that. So I guess he felt like, okay, well, I still got me, Above the Law, and Kokane. I still got Yella still here, we got all these other artists that we're trying to develop and bring to and we're labeled, we're established. Ren is still here, everybody was still there. So what Eric just did, he just worked with what he had. He knew he still had brilliant people around, that really wanted to do it. He knew he didn't ideally have a Cube or a Dre, or collectively NWA together. So he just kind of thought like an executive and said, okay, well, I'm gonna put my energy into Eazy-E and Eazy-E, Above the Law, Kokane, and then he brought on Drayster, Knockout, and then we signed Bone Thugs and Harmony, that kind of thing. We just kept rolling. Just the ball just kept rolling, because as an executive, he always had a broader vision than just putting everything into one thing. Like when Cube left, a lot of people don't know the whole situation with Cube it was unfair. It was a problem between him, Jerry Heller, and Eric. But a lot of it was because Eric wanted to invest more into developing and putting out Above the Law, and then in turn putting out other things other than spins off of NWA, which through Above the Law came Cocaine, which, you know, he put out the Doc, he put out Michelle A, then he put out us, then Cocaine comes out, you know, then we're established as a bigger label, then they break up. Well, like I said, a lot of that comes from his vision. He always knew, like, okay, what if that happens? I still got Above the Law. I still got Cocaine. I still got, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I still got other things. And you talk about, you still have great writers and producers around you. So that's just what he did. He just utilized the tools that he had and he built them. You know, he built his fort so tight that I don't think, only thing that was the demise of Ruthless Records was Eazy-E dying. That's it. It wasn't that NWA broke up, you know, because we were strong. We were as strong when they left. We were just as strong. You know, after Dr. Dre left. Shout out to Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre put us in the game, in school. It's my brother. You know what I mean? But we were just as strong because we were so laced up before he left. You know, I was so laced up because I understudied with him. You know, so I knew how to make records for everybody. I knew I had the vision already. You know what I mean? I knew how to help Eazy develop new projects. I knew how to help Eazy, continue to be developed. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he didn't have people. It's like almost he seasoned all of us to continue moving on. If whoever fell off, whoever decided to go do bigger and greater things, awesome, go do it. You know what I mean? But whoever was there, he knew that we were strong enough to just continue the legacy. You know. Of Ruthless.
Right. Now, was there a time that you guys were going to leave and go with Dr. Dre and Death Row at some point?
Absolutely, because go ahead, Coke, and the thing was that, you know, we worked so closely together with family. We worked so close together with the DLC, Michelle A, Cocaine, Above the Law, Lay Law, the rest of Above the Law, Gold Mac, DJ Chaos, Cam G, rest in peace. We all worked together so closely every day. Our issues weren't with Eric. It never was with Eric. It was with Jerry. We wanted Jerry out of there. You know, no disrespect to Jerry Heller, because we wouldn't have been nothing without Jerry Heller, but we felt like if it's causing conflict amongst the brothers, he got to go. Mm-hmm. You know, so if Eric still wanted to continue to work with him, we'd rather go with our brothers. You know what I mean? And build something with them. You know what I mean? Without somebody in the mix that's going to stifle us at that point. Unfortunately, Above the Law and Cocaine, we were fresh into our contract, so we couldn't contractually leave, you know, but we would have left. You know, we couldn't contract. It was impossible. We probably would have never made, you probably wouldn't have got this great music that you continue to get, you know, after the fact. So it was all business. We understood it, you know, and we stayed with Eazy because we felt like, and then we renegotiated our stuff and we made it a level playing field at that point and stayed at Ruthless, you know.
Yeah, it was crazy at that time, Nick, because we just got through having a successful run in London. The only NWA tour was NWA Above the Law and Cocaine.
Yep.
To the Academy. Everybody was happy. Hutch found the break.
Michelle A and Michelle A. Michelle A was on that tour.
Michelle A. And shout out to Michelle A too. That's where Hutch, you know, found the break beats over there, you know, on those records they be having in London. And he brought the same break beat, you know, to 100 Miles and Running. So actually, people don't know Hutch was a part of producing that song.
Yeah, that's how I got on the record. Yeah, I put the drums on.
Everything was speeches and cream. And, you know, we was in the studio at the same time. Above the Law and Cocaine was doing Black Mafia like. But it was cool because I'm like, damn, these dudes, we selling the same amount of records. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of what's going on, we selling these records. Regardless of what Cube left, because at that time, he said we selling records. So I'm like, damn, man, this is the first time me and Hutch got a platinum record in '91.
Yeah.
So once they broke up and all that stuff, because we used to run around Suge used to actually manage us in DLC. That was our partner, Mary.
That was our first manager,
but it was crazy because it was like, damn, that's the homie, Dre's the homie, Eazy the homie, and we were caught in the middle.
Yeah.
We were caught in the middle. But at the same time, we renegotiated, like Hutch said, because we felt like, hey, we can work this out. Eric took an interest in us Pomona cats, but nobody else did. So we honor our Compton brother, and we at least wanted to sit down and talk to him. Well, Eazy set up a meeting for Above the Law, Dr. Dre, and to come. But see, Dre didn't come to that meeting. He was already, decided to do what he was gonna do with Suge. But yeah, man, we were caught in the middle, boy. We was like, damn, Dre. They was like, damn, Eazy. But that's just the way it was back then. But the cool thing about that versus what's going on in hip hop today, man, they would drive around the corner, live in Calabasas with each other, and wasn't nobody rolling down the window dumping on each other.
That's true. Yeah.
The only, it was forces around them that got into some potential gangster shit. You know what I mean? But Eazy was not wavered. You know what I mean? He was 5'4" or 5, but man, he was a gangster with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the same time,
it could have been a lot more. It could have been a lot crazier. But I mean, I think he, like Coke was saying, like how people try to make it be. It more was like bitter that we couldn't actually work together because legally, I don't really think it was like beef. Like never felt like that. You know what I mean? Never felt like, I'm gonna go over there and do something.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Because when you think about Ruthless Records, they were the creme de la creme for billions and billions of dollars to be fueled off that tree. A lot of people put emphasis, rightfully so, from the cats that were part of NWA or just outside the coast, wherever your artist at. But Eazy-E was much more than driving down the street looking at a bulletin board crying in the movie. No, was Russell Simmons, because he was the one that was cut from that suppression. And long before your Master P's, long before your Cash Money, and etc., he actually laid down the blueprint on how an independent needs to conduct itself, because he wasn't conformed to these distribution companies that might drop the ball. He was like, since you motherfuckers dropped the ball, I'm taking my business elsewhere. He was that powerful, man. He was our West Coast Russell Simmons, but he was our beloved brother from Compton.
Yep.
No, I can dig that for sure, man. I mean, he was definitely a sonic visionary when it came to just seeing things, and it goes to show you, man, when you have the heart and the ingenuity.
He wasn't a music guy. He's a visionary. He wasn't a music guy. He wasn't even a music guy. He just knew. He knew what he knew. The great thing about Eazy-E is he knew that once he heard what you were doing, you had that thing. You know what I mean? Like, even if he couldn't do it, even, a lot of people like, oh, well, I did this and I'm from this, so I know. He kind of he only felt. He never said he knew anything. Like, well, shit, I feel like this. Somebody will like it because I kind of like it. You know what I mean? And that was the brilliance of him, because when we first started doing what we were doing, he was like, when he heard it, he was like, yeah, y'all got your shit on point. He's like, you know what I mean? Just keep doing y'all. Don't worry about what nobody else is doing. I'm going to back y'all play. Just keep doing it the way y'all doing it. When I had bought Kokane to him and developed the whole fusion of reggae, funk, jazz, hip hop, he was like, do it. And he backed it. You know what I mean? He never wavered. As Coco would say, he never wavered like, I don't know, or he knew too much, because he respected the fact that, these guys are musical guys. These guys, they know it, So people don't give him that credit either. They don't give him credit for being just brilliant enough to take his own money and risk on something that he in his heart believed in. He didn't have, nowadays you got followers and so many people, your video went viral. We just bought him a demo. Nick, we just bought him a demo. You know what I mean? We didn't have no followers. You know what I'm saying? We was the street dudes. We didn't have no followers. We don't check this out. He's like, oh yeah, I'm kind of feeling that. Okay, I'm gonna put this money up. Okay, develop this. Okay, I'm gonna put this money up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the brilliance of him, man. And what you're talking about is 1988 and 89. It's not like we're talking about 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So to have a vision like that, it's amazing. That when you look at what he saw in Bone Thugs and Harmony, I remember I heard crazy One of them dudes was rapping on the phone.
Yeah,
they were rapping on the phone. I was in the office like, this kind of dope. And then when he bought the whole thing to me, said, they going to sing and rap. I was like, you sure about it? He said, yeah, it's kind of going to be like some harmony, hip hop type shit. I said, okay. He had that vision. You know what I mean? Like, and he wasn't a music person. That's the magic of it. He'll tell you, I'm not an artist. I'm a good idea. Y'all the artists. Y'all the rappers. Y'all the singers. I'm the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as he said in the movie, he the Barry Gordy of this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you talk. I'm gonna ask you about Bone in a second, but I want to ask you 213, young Snoop Rock, young Warren G. What did you two see in those two guys before the world got a chance to really see them and really appreciate them for what they brought to the table?
Well, you know, in the beginning, we were working on Living Like Hustlers, finishing up Living Like Hustlers, and Warren and Kokane came to stay with us. You know, we had a production house like maybe about an hour outside of the city where, you know, we could be out of trouble and not, you know, be in the drama, right? And then we just go to the production house and write and shoot to the studio. One thing I understood about them as young artists, they're very hungry. You know, and he would always be talking about this kid, my boy Slim. Remember, he used to talk about Slim. Oh yeah, Slim. Yeah. When he come home, it's gonna be when he come home. Yeah, I'm gonna put him on. I'm gonna put him on, right? So as we going back and forth to the studio and developing, you know, we went and started working on the second project, Living Like Hustlers, that came out, and we started working on the second project. What was for the funk of it, the funk of it, vocally pimping, basically the EP. And then a young slim guy came in with shit. I mean, him and another singing dude named Nate Dogg came in, and they were just so electric as a young age. You know, it's like, oh, them dudes got it. You know, already that dude got it. You know, already. You know, dude was like we'll say Snoop was like, you know, remember the Cat in the Hat? Like it could rhyme about anything. That dude could rhyme about anything. You know what I'm saying? So that was amazing back then because, like how Coca said earlier, you didn't have all this electronic shit. You either had it or you didn't. Wasn't a machine that's gonna make you be hot. You know what I mean? Well, and he had it. You know, he had it when he came through the door. He had it, and you know, we were helping develop him. You know, along with Warren. You know, and then along with trying to put them together and develop them at Ruthless Records and put them out. It's crazy about them is that they come right in the midst of the breakup. Of the whole label falling apart. So they had to, like how Coca said, you had to not pick a side, but just everyone is cool with everybody. So they just decided to go and just follow Dre, you know. So, and that's how that came about. But they came through our camp first. They were being sought for and scouted through us by Warren G, you know.
Yeah. And Dr. Dre even, you know, he'll adamantly tell you, man, he called Hutch and said, I know y'all working with this kid.